Hey guys, it's Kayla and Mark Allen. We like to travel a lot, especially to Disney World. Follow along on our journey as we give you tips and tricks to help you create your own ever after. Everybody,
Hello.
Happy Tuesday.
Sorry, I think it cut out just a little bit there. I think the mic wasn't turned on quite yet.
Oh, well, hello everybody again. Happy Tuesday. So we the other night were D23. Okay, hold on. Sorry, let me gather my thoughts. D23 is Disney's fan event that happens, and during D23, it's kind of like Comic-Con for Disney people.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what D23 is. And during D23, they have a parks panel where they update everybody on like some of the new and exciting things that are going to be happening in the parks. And that was this past weekend. And there are some really exciting things that were announced. There are some things that I am frankly very upset about. And so we are going to share the updates with you, and we are going to kind of give you our opinions and thoughts and feelings. And I have many thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and we want to know your thoughts. So make sure in the chat that you are in there letting us know your thoughts about everything. We're going to basically kind of have a little conversation with you. So, all right.
So the big one where we mainly want to talk about the Disney World news and updates, but we are going to share the Disneyland and Disney Cruise Line updates with you as well, just so that you kind of know all the things. So we're going to start with Disneyland.
Disneyland news. So we do have some slides here, so let me go ahead and get that pulled up. Starting off with the Adventure Campus. Avengers Campus new attraction.
It's been a long day at work. Can you tell?
Yeah.
So they announced that there is going to be a third attraction coming to Avengers Campus in Disneyland. They didn't really give a whole lot of details on what exactly this ride is. But basically the premise is we're going into the multiverse and we're going to one of the like alternate realities where Thanos won. He wasn't defeated by the Avengers. And so King Thanos, which I think is the next picture. Yeah. King Thanos is like the central villain or the central character in this attraction. And apparently I think you're supposed to somehow defeat him in said attraction. But
I think it'll all said and done. I think it'll be really cool, whatever it is that they're doing.
I know there's a lot of fans of like the multiverse kind of idea. I think that'll be a fun way to add that into that.
Yeah. I wish that they would have given us a little bit more concept art or concrete ideas. Of exactly what it is.
If I had to guess, it's probably going to be another like screen type ride, kind of maybe similar to like Web Slingers.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be the same type of system, but I have a feeling it'll be kind of in that family, the way that they were playing it up.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. Especially because I feel like Disneyland is just so hard up for land that I feel like if I were to guess, I haven't done a whole lot of research, but I feel like they don't have a whole ton of space to work with. So I don't think it'll be, if I were to guess, a super large attraction. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Next up is so they are doing a fun little re-theme Pacific Wharf. So we actually have not. We've both technically been to Disneyland, not together, and it was also like 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
So we don't have a whole lot of memory of like all the things in Disneyland, but this did make me excited. So Pacific Wharf is being rethemed into San Francisco. That's how you say it. Which is based off of Big Hero 6. So basically they're creating like a Big Hero 6. I don't even want to call it a mini land, but like area. It's like a Big Hero 6 themed area. But they are going to have a Baymax meet and greet, which is exciting.
Which I really wish in hindsight that we would have met Baymax back in Epcot when he was still there.
Yeah, that would have been but hey, now it's a good excuse for us to go to Disneyland.
I know. But it also is going to bring hopefully maybe some new restaurants, some new shopping. I think it'll be really, really cool when it's all said and done. So
yep. Speaking of land rethemes, they are also in the middle of doing Toontown, Mickey's Toontown Square, Mickey's Toontown, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Basically, they're retheming that because they are adding Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which, if you've been to Disney World, you are familiar with that. It's honestly probably my favorite attraction in Disney World.
And I'm very excited that they are making it. Hi, Chris Melinda. I'm super excited that they are making it different than Disney World. I'm glad that it's not just a copy paste type of situation.
Oh, will it be different?
Well, I think the ride will more or less be a copy paste if I were to guess. Again, I haven't done a whole lot of research on this, but the queue, you can see a lot of the concept art here. The two bottom pictures, I believe, are concept art from the queue for Runaway Railway at Disneyland.
Are they?
I believe so. That's how I was interpreting it.
Don't hold us up to it.
Yeah.
We're speaking very fast on a lot of things.
But yes, I believe that is concept art for the queue at Runaway Railway, which I think will be very fun. And I'm glad that I think it'll help kind of tie the whole story of the ride together as a whole. So
I think that'll be fun. All right. And then next up, I don't think we have a picture for this. I think it's just.
No, I think we do.
No, we don't.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
We're trying some new technologies, so bear with us. They are Pixar. No.
Okay.
Paradise Pier Hotel. I get very confused. Again, Disneyland's not our forte, but the Paradise Pier Hotel. So that is kind of like their bottom tier hotel at Disneyland. They are in the middle of doing a retheme to kind of really give it a big, heavy Pixar theming. And then they did actually release the new name for the hotel will be Pixar Place Hotel. I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping that it'll be cool.
Yeah. Again, they didn't release a whole lot of concept art. I mean, they had one picture, which we don't have a picture of the concept art that they did release for the lobby. But it looked really, really cool. And again, I'm excited to see what the rooms will look like.
Yeah, here. I'm hoping that they will bring some really cute liveliness, kind of like the Toy Story Hotel in one of the overseas parks.
Yeah.
Where's that at? Paris?
Sure.
I don't know.
So, Chris, I want to answer your comment here. They're bringing Mickey's Toontown to Orlando. They are not.
No.
Which I think would make, honestly, a lot of people, some people happy, some people really mad. Because I think the Disneylanders like that it's unique to Disneyland. But I think because they used to have, did they call it Toontown?
They had Toontown
at Disney World. Because that's where because I know you could walk through Mickey's house and all of that. That was before I started going. And that's what Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, New Fantasyland. That's what New Fantasyland replaced. So,
yes. And no, it's not a Remy's shirt. This is a Food and Wine shirt from a few years ago. I think 2019.
I think so.
All right, next up for Disneyland, Run Disney is returning. So we are not runners, but I have friends who are, and they are very excited because they have not had Run Disney for a while. I think since before COVID. So those will be returning in 2024.
It is our goal to do a Run Disney race.
One day. They sound like a lot of fun, but I also need to be more mentally and physically prepared to do a run. And my wallet, wallet also needs to be prepared for a Run Disney.
I need to run a mile without throwing up.
That too, yes.
Goals.
All right, and then the next the next thing is actually for Disney World and Disneyland. So this I think is the first time that they really talked about the Tiana, Princess and the Frog re-theme of Splash Mountain. So Splash Mountain is in Magic Kingdom and then also in Disneyland. This is a super classic ride that has been around forever, but due to some things that are controversial, they are retheming it to Princess and the Frog. I have a very love-hate thing about this. Like, I'm really excited because I like Princess and the Frog, but I'm also sad because I really liked Splash Mountain.
Yeah, I think why a lot of people are mad about this retheme for both parks is just how, I guess you could call it, nostalgic that ride is.
Yeah.
And quintessential to Disney. I mean, whenever you see, think about like 90s sitcoms going to Disneyland or Disney World, they're always showing Splash,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of people think of when as like a quintessential Disney ride.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of people are mad about that. But if you think about it, this ride is based off of a movie that Disney has pretty much erased from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't find it anywhere. You can't buy the movie. You can't stream it anywhere. They've pretty much removed any copies from like YouTube or even like the dark web. It's very hard to find, and honestly, rightfully so. Just Google "Song in the South" and you will find all of that. So I get why they're changing it in that aspect.
So basically, the retheme is they kind of told us the storyline of what the ride is going to be. I think this is the first time that they've really talked about the storyline of the ride.
Yeah.
Basically, this is going to be taking place after Tiana has created her restaurant. So she finally has her restaurant. And they didn't really give a whole lot of like what actually happens in the ride, but they did kind of set it up that like Tiana does have a restaurant. There's something to do with that Vin's going on some sort of crazy mishap adventure. Don't really know. But the thing that I thought was super funny was they were talking about this like revolutionary technology that they're using. It was total sarcasm, but it's literally fog.
I wish we had a picture of it.
Fog and lights. Basically, they went on this whole thing where they were talking about like, oh, we're just so excited to bring this amazing technology, just like creating this beautiful aura.
I thought it was hilarious.
Blah, 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 blah. But literally all it is they're using fog and then they're projecting lights on the fog. Which is cool. Like, I mean, it's going to be a cool element added to the ride, but they made it sound like it was some big, huge, cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not.
Here's the thing is like they in my mind, what they're doing is exactly like what they do in Fantasmic, with like the water mists and projection stuff on it. What they did during Rivers of Light, and what they do for World of Color. It's all projected on a variation of water.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it totally fits with this ride, with the whole bayou type thing. I really do think that it's going to be a cool effect added to this ride. But a very common theme, and as we get into some of these things that we're going to talk about later, they're just, a lot of these announcements made things seem like a huge big deal, but they were also super vague, like incredibly vague.
I will put it this way in 2 words: cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. Like you kind of almost have to take everything that they announce at D23 like with a grain of salt, because as we saw from like last year, a lot of stuff isn't happening anymore. They just kind of like it fizzled out and disappeared.
Right.
Yeah. So
I want to answer some of these comments. Should have given Tiana her own restaurant and leave Splash alone. So I will agree with you on.
Now they are giving her a restaurant. There will be
I think only
Tiana restaurant in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. They have said nothing for Disney World, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Honestly, I will be okay if Magic Kingdom just gets some beignets. Give me some beignets, I'll be good. And gluten-free beignets. Please. Hey, Lauren. Lauren also said the music will be great. I am so pumped for the music.
And I am very pleased that they are bringing a lot of the original voice actors in to do the effects, like the audio effects for this ride. Nothing drives me more crazy than when the ride is like not the original voice actor. Like it just sounds off. If you've ever been to Universal and ridden the Hogwarts Express, there's like a part where like the Hermione is not Hermione and you're like, what is this? And so I am glad that they are bringing a lot of the original voice actors. That'll be great.
Melinda from Two Broke Mice.
Actually, I want to hold off on this one because we are going to talk about that later.
Okay. During Disney World.
Disney World, we're going to talk about that later.
We have a whole Disney World segment. I'll come back to this. We can go ahead and talk about this one. Wish Disney would retheme Splash Mountain with Toy Story to fit the Western theme. That could have been really fun.
I love that. That could have been so fun. The only reason I think they would never do that is because they already have a Toy Story Land. But I love that idea.
I do too. Yeah.
That's super fun. All right. Let's get booking on the last little bit of Disneyland.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get really into the Disney World stuff. So there are 2 meet and greets that are coming.
Bam.
So the first off is Hulk. This is actually pretty cool. So last year at D23, they
3 years ago, 2019.
I don't know. At a previous D23, they came out and they showed this like guy basically in a stilt suit, and it looked like a big like skeleton type thing with these cool movable hands and whatever. And everyone was like, "Oh, what is that gonna be? Is it Sully? Is it what?" Well, they didn't. I wish that they would have talked about it during D23, that like the translation. But if you had watched that D23 and you saw this Hulk come out, you would have been like, oh, that's that thing that they showed us a couple years ago. So this thing's massive, as you can see from the picture. But that meet and greet will be coming to Avengers Campus. And then the other meet and greet is going to be the Mandalorian and Grogu. So you can kind of see it in that picture. So Grogu will be like a little animatronic like in his bag. So you'll be able to meet and greet with them. I thought that was a lot of fun too.
I am very excited about this. I find it very interesting that they bring these meet and greets to Disneyland exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
And then Disney World is just kind of almost, it seems like an afterthought. So it'll be interesting to see if these are just kind of like a test run of the meet and greets, because obviously these are brand new costumes. There's updated technology with all the Hulk stuff. I mean, it looked like a very complicated, if they have the exact what they had on stage at Disneyland, it looks like a very complicated costume. And the same for Mando and Grogu. They're very, the technology is really advanced. So it'll be interesting, and hopefully that obviously these, what I'm going to call a test run that they're doing at Disneyland, hopefully they go well and that we see them at Disney World.
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens.
Lauren, they promised a lot of character meet and greets and not land and never delivered. I have to agree with you on that. I found it very interesting because you think about like one of the last big, was it 2017? I don't remember.
I feel like last year there was so many big announcements that were really cool, because I think that was when they announced gosh, I don't even know, but was that last year or was that the year before? I don't remember. They all kind of blur together, but I just feel like in past years, I always leave the D23 Parks panel and like, oh, this is really exciting. Like there's some cool stuff. This year it was done and I was like,
that's it?
Yeah. There's got to be more. That can't be like, because there was just a lot of things that I think people expected to be talked about during this D23, and like a Fantasmic, like an opening date for Fantasmic, I thought was going to be a given.
They didn't really talk about anything for Epcot. They didn't talk about the Play Pavilion, anything with Imagination, which a lot of people thought.
So pause. one more thing from Disneyland, and
Oh,
then we're
yeah,
gonna dive
yeah.
into Disney World because
We're getting ahead of
I just
it.
want to finish Disneyland first. Okay, so the last thing for Disneyland, so the 100-year whatever anniversary of the Disney company starts October 1st, I think. No,
January 1st.
January 1st. Sorry, January 1st. And it seems like a lot of the stuff is going to be coming to Disneyland for that celebration. They will have things at all the parks, but I feel like most of it was for Disneyland. There's going to be 2 new nighttime shows. So World of Color is going to be replaced by World of Color 1. Interesting choice of name. They didn't really talk a whole lot, but it does sound like they are trying to bring more of like Walt's story or like that kind of like through time thing, which I do think is good because I think that was a lot of the feedback that they got of why people were very displeased with things like Enchantment.
Yeah.
And so I do think that they are trying to incorporate some of that. And then Wondrous Journeys is going to be the castle show. The song for that, in my opinion, the one that they performed was kind of a train wreck. It was very weird. It was not a great song.
Yeah.
It wasn't a banger. So I don't know. We'll see how it translates into the actual show. But
also, so the next thing I am personally really excited for is return of whoops, I got ahead of myself. Return of Magic Happens. This show, it literally ran for 2 weeks before the park closure.
This did?
Yeah. It only ran for 2 weeks.
I didn't know that.
It did. It ran for 2 weeks in Disneyland before the parks closed. And which is really funny to me because this show, like even if you just look at that picture, the costumes, the floats, that like especially the one that Mickey is on screams 50th anniversary to me. So it makes me really wonder if their original intent with this show or parade was to have it at Disney, or like start it at Disneyland and move it to Disney World for the 50th. I don't know.
That's a little far out there, man.
I don't know. That wishful thinking, right? But everything about this show, I keep calling it a show, it's a parade, is beautiful. The music is so good. The floats are amazing. There's fantastic YouTube videos on it if you want to go and watch it. But it's a fantastic parade, and I really hope that eventually it comes to Disney World.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. Disneyland likes to have kind of their exclusive stuff, which you can't blame them because it is a locals park for the most part. But I don't know. Hopefully we'll get out to Disneyland one day and see it.
Yep. Let's talk about Disney World.
Disney World.
So there was very few things that were announced for Disney World. And I don't know. I'm not going to lie. Overall, I was pretty displeased by the amount of announcements for Disney World. I feel like they spent about 5 minutes talking about Disney World and then it was just done. Like it was...
Lauren, I agree with you. Aurora's dress in that parade is fantastic.
But I don't know. There was a few things that I was really excited about. One being is the first thing. What's the first thing?
Whoops, wrong thing. Hang on.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a noob here. Bear with me. It is Journey of Water.
Okay, cool. I didn't remember what order we had all these things in. So Journey of Water, they have been talking about that more and more lately, which I find very interesting because they announced that it's going to be opening late next year.
Which is so surprising to me.
Which I'm like, why are we pushing this so hard right now if y'all ain't even going to be done till the end of next year?
Yeah, I
think it's going to be really cool. I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah. My only hope with this walkthrough attraction is that they do an educational, like Epcot spin to it. Because to me, in Epcot, you have, especially in Future World or now World Celebration. I'm still not used to that. But to me, it just has that educational aspect. You know, you have Spaceship Earth that teaches you all about the concept of communication through time, and then you have attractions like Living with the Land or Mission Space, and you know, it has kind of these educational aspects. And so I really hope that it has that Epcot style of attraction to it, that it's not just a IP.
I think
I'm okay
that
with
you
them
have
bringing
some
IP
wishful
in, but
thinking,
I
buddy.
know I do, but one
But
can
the
dream.
big announcement with this was that they had a little replica of the Fiti statue that's going to be in it. Apparently this thing is going to be 16 feet tall, so it's going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see, like, sightline wise what this looks like. It's going to be interesting. I think like I said, I think it's going to be really cool. I think a lot of people are going to think that it's nice, and it's good. But as far as like it being an Epcot and how that all fits together, that is still yet to be determined.
Yeah, I think our Epcot love for Epcot is coming out hard right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to agree with Chris here, and you guys, I know there's some other comments. We're gonna get to some of those other comments, but I found this really funny. They did Small World in like 8 to 9 months. Now it takes years to do a walkthrough attraction.
I know.
It's crazy to me that they built all of Disneyland in what, like a year-ish time frame, and it's taking, which brings us to our next slide here. Tron. It's crazy to me that this has been being built for 5 years.
Yeah.
And now they have human riders on it. But the big thing is that they announced that it's going to open
spring of next year,
which is
I don't know. It's just really weird. So they've been doing like real people testing, which would make it seem like it was getting close to being done. It seems like there's a lot of indoor theming that's still being worked on.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I feel like because didn't they say that it was supposed to open like this year?
I don't think they ever initially gave.
Or they alluded that it was supposed to open this year?
I don't think they ever gave an initial timeline.
I don't know.
But I think there was a lot of speculation about when it was going to open, but I don't think any of it was actually confirmed by
I want to
Disney.
know how long it took to build the one in Tokyo. Is that where the overseas one is? Where's the overseas one?
Yes.
So if you didn't know,
no, Shanghai.
Sure.
I think it's in Shanghai.
So if you didn't know, like, Tron is not a new ride. It is. They have this ride at one of the overseas parks, and they are bringing it to Disney World. And so I'm just curious, like, how long it took to make that ride there compared to here, because I guarantee you it didn't take nearly as long.
Oh, I guarantee you not.
No.
But I think that just also goes to show.
Okay, yes. Thank you, Lauren. I was pretty sure. I felt like they had alluded that it was supposed to. I don't know if that they gave a necessarily like, this is when it's opening, but I feel like they did allude that it was supposed to open this year. So yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really cool coaster, and I think
do too.
Magic Kingdom really needs
a new
something like
big
that.
Ticket attraction.
But yeah, I'm just.
I will be curious to see what happens with all the mountains as far as wait time goes in Magic Kingdom. I really hope that will push and draw some of the crowds.
Yeah.
Away from that. So yeah. Chris, yeah, you nailed it. It is all the pandemic's fault, because and that's not that we're in this live stream really going to compare Disney to Universal, but that's one thing. And if you guys watch Braden from Mickey Views,
just about to say, there was someone that did a really good video talking about that exact subject.
Yeah.
Basically the premise was talking about how during the pandemic, Disney halted all operations. They basically just like took their hands off, and they said, we're not doing a single thing. Like we're not doing anything. Whereas Universal, they kind of, while all these interest rates for land and all of this stuff were crazy low because people weren't like buying things yet or at that time. That's why Universal was getting in on working on this third gate, their new park. Because like pricing was a lot lower during the pandemic. So they were able to start like being smart and getting these things. Whereas Disney World was just like, nope, we're not doing anything. So now they kind of shot themselves in the foot, I would say, by not taking advantage of like that stuff. And
I just posted in the chat there. You can see the link to that video. It's done really, really well.
Yeah.
He does a whole recap of D23, but he talks a lot about the pandemic, and I think that's why this whole D23, especially the parks panel, was very lackluster.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about Kayla and I talked a lot about just in our conversations that I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about something. I don't know. Anyways,
nope,
moving on. Something else. I don't think we had a slide for it, but they are bringing a Figment meet and greet to Epcot.
I am
pleased about that.
I am very excited about that.
I don't know that is D23 newsworthy, but I was excited to hear that they are bringing a Figment meet and greet.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish that they would have done at least a refurb for Journey to Imagination, because the last, gosh, I don't even know how many times we've ridden it. We've not had it like a perfectly like
something
working,
was
something was broke. So Chris, I lose my train of thought all the time. But I really, really hope eventually that Imagination does get some well-deserved love, because, you know, there's been several times we've ridden where screens were broke, smells were broke. Figment himself looked like a little sketch, has some arthritis going on. So yeah, I really hope that they do announce that someday soon.
Then the next thing, so this was probably, honestly, this was the biggest announcement from D23. And this is the one thing that people are really freaking excited about, but also a little nervous about. And that is that Happily Ever After is returning to Magic Kingdom. Now, caveat to this, you have to make sure you look at the wording very carefully, because they have said that Happily Ever After will be coming in a updated way. So basically what that means is they are reimagining Happily Ever After. I don't know exactly what that means. It could mean a total overhaul of the show. It could just mean that they have some updated projections and pyrotechnics. We honestly will not find out until they debut it. But I am really excited that they're bringing Happily Ever After back. Just because we had a really sad day when we saw it for the last time. It was really disappointing because there had been like a fire or something the day before,
like a big fire.
Yeah, and so they didn't do fireworks. They just did the projections on the castle with the music, which is fine, but like that was our last time ever getting to see that show, and I was honestly like super upset.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole reason we had made that trip. But you know, I'm just happy that they are bringing it back. I will be really excited if they do bring some of the pyrotechnics from Enchantment into Happily Ever After, because that is probably my favorite thing about Enchantment, is that there are some very cool pyrotechnics in that show.
Yeah.
That Happily Ever After did not have.
But there was also pyrotechnic stuff in Happily Ever After that I loved. Like during Pirates, they do all the smoke and
I just think that there was a lot of like, I don't know, better technology pyrotechnics. Yeah. Like you could tell that it was further along, I guess. So I'm very excited about that. I won't lie.
Yeah, me too. I'm very, again, cautiously optimistic of what they're going to do as far as bringing the song back.
Honestly,
But-
as long as the song comes out, it says that the song will at least be back. So
Which
as
I
long
think-
as the song's back, I don't freaking care about the rest of the show.
Yeah, which I think is what a lot of people love.
Because that's the song that makes me cry. So.
And the narration at the end.
Oh, I guarantee they're gonna change that. Guarantee it.
I we'll see.
Guarantee it. It's gonna be different.
Yeah, Lauren, I think you just barely missed talking about San Francisco, and
I'm very excited about that.
I'm stoked that
I love
Baymax.
Big Hero 6.
I do too. I'm glad that Baymax is finally getting a meet and greet.
Great.
Because I don't think he has a meet and greet in Disneyland.
No, not
So,
currently.
I hope he comes back to Epcot after the overhaul too.
All right, and then another fan favorite that people were very excited about is the Hatbox Ghost is going to be added to the Haunted Mansion in Disney World. I know that they've been working on this technology for a while. I guess they've updated it. So I guess they originally had it, and I don't know, did they have it at Disney World, or was it just Disneyland, or?
So yes,
Because he's
Disneyland,
kind of come back and gone away and come back, but I think it was because that they kept having issues with the technology.
Well, so I believe that. Okay, Lauren, you might have to help. You might know about this more than I do, but if I remember right, Hatbox Ghost was original to Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
I think so. Okay,
but
thank you,
yeah,
Lauren.
it's never been at Disney World. It's only at Disneyland. But I think he opened with Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, but was not there very long. He was in the ride when it first opened, and they took out after a couple of years because they kept having bugs with it.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, what made the Disneyland version a lot better for people is because of the Hatbox Ghost.
It was just kind of a fan favorite. Everyone just thought it was really cool, I guess. I like Haunted Mansion. I'm not like a Haunted Mansion fanatic like some people are, which is fine. That's totally, no judgment to those that love Haunted Mansion. I like Haunted Mansion, but I'm not like all about it. So the Hatbox Ghost to me is like, oh yeah, that's kind of fun. I know that people are going to be excited. I don't particularly care that much, but I'm curious to see it because I'm curious to see this thing that people have been losing their minds over. So I am excited that they're
So Lauren summed it up very well. Let's see. So at Disneyland, he was in the ride when it first opened. Then he took him out after a couple of years. Kind of like what we said. And then they just recently, I don't think he's been back in Disneyland very long. Like maybe a handful of years.
I think they maybe do it like seasonally or something like that. I think
no, he's there permanently now.
Oh, he is like currently there?
Yes, at Disneyland. Yeah.
Oh.
But he's newer because they just didn't really have the technology to do it. But I'm annoyed Jared Leto is I can picture him. What is he in?
Do you know who Jared Leto is?
Yes.
Because I don't.
Was it okay? God, I might sound like an idiot here. Was he married? He was married to
that means nothing to me.
Is it Lady? No, Katy Perry.
That means nothing to me.
Anyway, Lauren's probably laughing.
I am excited for that movie though. I'm very curious to see what they do with it. I personally love the Eddie Murphy movie. I know a lot of people will give that movie a lot of shade, but I personally love that. So I'm excited they're making another one.
Yeah. But overall, I'm kind of indifferent about this. I love Haunted Mansion. I love the music and how classic Disney dark ride it is, but I could go either way.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Now, if they would have announced he played Joker. Okay, we're gonna Google.
We'll Google him later.
But to me, if they would have done something like an overlay, like a Walt Disney World exclusive overlay, different than Nightmare Before Christmas or something like that for Haunted Mansion, I would have been more excited about that.
They're not ever gonna do that.
I don't know. We'll see.
Disney World's not that special.
Yeah, Disney World is not that special when it comes to overlays. But
okay. So those are all the main actual announcements for Disney World. The next thing we're going to talk about is something that I was so freaking excited when they started talking, and then I got really angry by the end of it.
I think a lot of people did too. This is where it kind of
the
just
stupidest thing. They should not have done this. Like, in my opinion, I'm just going to start out saying they should not have done this segment in this panel, because it has now created so much misinformation, and I'm honestly like super upset about it.
Yeah. How many of you that are in the chat actually watched? Liz
Welcome,
is here.
Liz. You just jumped on in when we're about to just like talk about some tea. So get ready.
How many? I'm curious. How many of you in the chat right now watched
the live stream
of the parks panel?
Yeah.
Because I think we're at the point of recapping everything where it really took a turn for the worst.
This was like, because the whole time, so basically the way that the panel went, they talked about Disneyland, then they talked about Disney World for about like 4 seconds, and then they moved on, and we're like, what? That was it? That can't be it. What? There has to be more. And because then they just went on to talk about Disney Cruise Line and the overseas parks and whatever. And the whole time I'm sitting there texting my friend, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, what? That's it? That can't be it. So then towards the end, Josh tomorrow comes out and he's like, okay, I might get in trouble for talking about this, but we just thought it would be fun. I'm going to do it anyway. And then he brings out these two people, and basically they're talking about something called they're like blue skies. So blue skies in Imagineering is basically like their vision board. It's where they are dreaming up ideas for the parks. So basically a blue sky concept means this is something that could be really fun, that could happen, but there's no actual like, this is when it's happening. There's no document signed, no concrete, there's no greenlit anything. Like, this is literally just ideas. Here's an idea. And a lot of people have said that they were basically like gauging the audience, engaging reaction. What do you call that? Focus groups. Yeah, they're basically using this as like a focus group.
Yeah, it was almost like a throw a bunch of pasta on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And
so basically he was just like, what if Dinoland like became this new blah 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 blah, and what if Zootopia? And of course, like, as soon as they came out, they had played a song from Zootopia, and I texted my friend, I was like, oh my gosh, they're bringing Zootopia to Dinoland, because I thought that maybe that's what they were going to announce. No, just to be clear, all of this blue sky stuff that they talked about, none of this is confirmed. None of this is actually happening at this point. And even if it does, this isn't going to happen for another like 5-10 years.
Yeah. So they had some concept art, as you can see here. So
and so they're like, yeah, what if Zootopia? And I was like, yes, that would be so cool. Then they were like, well, what if Moana? And that was when I think they lost everybody, and they're like, what? And that's when I think everyone was like, I'm confused. What are we talking? Wait, so is this not actually an announcement? Are we just like, what? so they're showing this concept art of basically, and you can see it on the screen, of like this basically revamping of Dinoland into Moana / Zootopia world. But again, this is not like actual like a plan. Like, they're not saying this is what we're doing. They're saying, oh, this is a fun idea. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
And I just
I saw a really funny tweet that someone was basically talking about how especially Moana does not deserve a space in Animal Kingdom. And they basically said something along the lines of, just because your movie has a minute of a stupid chicken and 30 seconds of a pig does not give you the right to go to Animal Kingdom. And I could not agree more.
But I just, like, I can see Zootopia. I don't necessarily feel like for the overall theme of Animal Kingdom, I don't think that it's
I still don't think it fits.
It's appropriate for it, but I do see like why they feel like I do see why they might correlate that Zootopia could fit, and I do think that it could be really cool. So then the next thing that they're talking about just made me even more angry, but also like excited, but also like super angry because I was like, what the heck? This is like, why are we talking about this when this isn't even a real thing? So they're like, what if there was a land beyond Big Thunder Mountain? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is where
they
really
lost
confusing.
me. This is where I was like, oh, cool. Are they going to be building upon, I don't know, Big Thunder Mountain into that? No. This is where it turned into Cuckoo Ville, which this is literally, I think they just named these things. Again, I think it was kind of like a focus group to gauge reaction. They're like, what if you see basically like the town Coco is from, and then you have this attraction where you're flying on the whatever thing. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, but what if like you could go to the casita in Encanto? And I'm like, what? And then they're like, oh, and we know that this has been something you guys have been wanting. What about villains? And I'm just like, what is
Which is
happening?
the area at the top of
what is happening?
That concept art. And so my thing is there's not a lot of land.
None of this fits in Magic Kingdom. I would just like to say that. Maybe the villains thing. But Encanto and Coco should be in Epcot, not Magic Kingdom, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It does not make sense in the way that Magic Kingdom is structured, because it is structured in these lands of like
Adventureland,
Tomorrowland, whatever. And so like, sure, if you want to have an IP thing within those lands, but I don't think having a Coco land in Magic Kingdom makes sense. It doesn't. Make a Coco ride in Epcot in the Mexico Pavilion.
They're just gonna like slowly like add links under the archway, the tunnel that you walk in, where it's like, here you leave the land of today and enter the land of tomorrow. What is it?
And then you go to the casita
and
you go right on the
they're just gonna add
the...
little links of chains underneath that sign.
Basically I just started getting really upset when they were announcing all this stuff, because I was like, yeah, this sounds freaking cool, but also I hope you dummies know that now everybody is going to post this as, oh my gosh, Coco Land is coming to Magic Kingdom. That's not true.
Yeah, a lot of people did, and I felt really bad because it was so misleading.
Yes, and I think a lot of people are going to be later down the road be like, well, how come we haven't heard anything else about the Encanto Land, and how come we haven't heard anything else about the retheme of Dinoland? And then when they totally come out and they are actually going to announce what they're going to do, people are going to be upset. And they're like, well, what happened to Coco Land?
Yep.
Like, I wanted Coco Land. I don't know.
So
that made me so mad, because that was how they ended the whole panel. And I was just like, that's what you're going to leave us with, is this whole like, what if we did this cool thing, but you're not actually going to give us any sort of concrete anything. I'm sorry. I'm getting really like heated, but I'm just like, I was so mad.
I really wish they would have talked more about, especially when it comes to Disney World. I wish they would have talked more about Epcot's 40th anniversary coming up in just a few weeks. Which,
by the way, they're getting rid of Harmonious.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty pissed off about that.
Yeah. We just looked at each other and we were like, what the actual...
That made me cry. Like, crap. I was so mad.
We love...
I love Harmonious.
Yeah, we love Harmonious.
It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars creating Harmonious.
Probably millions.
Creating those barges, hiring all those musicians, writing that music, creating all this technology for it.
Doing the Disney Plus special.
Only going to run this show for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Not even. And I think that is dumb. That's so dumb.
Although there's been a lot of speculation that they're going to use potentially the barges for said new nighttime fireworks show.
I'm pretty sure they are. A lot of people have said, I hope they take the barges down. But in the concept art, the barges were in the concept art.
Oh, were they? I guess I don't remember seeing concept art for the new show. I couldn't
find a picture of it, but basically it was like the Japan arch. And it was like people like running up to the Japan arch. And then in the background, you saw like the ring.
Okay.
And that was when they were talking about they didn't give any details on like what this new show is.
I don't know.
But
so
I'm just like,
one thing that we were talking about actually just at dinner is, so there's a new composer writing a bunch of stuff for Epcot. So this composer, Tapar,
don't know.
She has a weird first name.
It's the one that wrote the.
Yeah, she wrote the new Epcot theme.
That song.
But she's also writing
The rest.
a bunch of the new background music for Epcot.
Yeah.
And so I am curious if she is going to write potentially some music for this new Epcot show, which I think would be super, super cool. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But
we'll see. I'm upset about it. Still mad. I'm gonna be salty about it.
Yeah, which,
unless they're just saying, "Oh, we're revamping Harmonious," then I'll be okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Lauren. Yeah. I'm with you, Kayla. Why are they charging so much for admission but not actively working on bettering their parks before Epic Universe opens?
And here's something else that I thought was really interesting. I feel like this year they invited a lot of influencers and they hyped this up to be a really big D23.
They did.
Like, didn't you? I remember you texted me and you said that Bob literally came out and was like, "This is gonna be our biggest D23 ever." And I'm like,
and even Josh Tomorrow had said that too.
Yeah, they built it up to be such this huge thing. And because they had invited so many influencers, we're like, oh my gosh, they're announcing something big. Like there's something big that's going to happen. No.
Nothing.
No. They didn't even actually really talk about stuff that's coming for the 100th anniversary. And they didn't talk about anything that's coming for the Epcot 40th. They didn't talk about like any of these. I don't know. It was so weird. It was so weird.
And especially because this is the first, real D23 they've had since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You would have thought that they would have, especially after not really announcing anything, obviously during the pandemic, that they would have announced something, kind of big, a new ride or something like that. But nothing really.
And I guess, and this kind of goes to me and Mark Allen were having this conversation the other day where like, I'm all for things changing in Disney. Like that is kind of the whole purpose of the Disney parks is for them to be constantly changing and updating and creating and innovating and whatever. I'm all for that. And honestly, I'm all for them updating their policies on things because I know things like Genie Plus, like people hate it, but personally I love it. And like there's a lot of that stuff and I don't mind these changes, but what I do have a problem with is some of the transparency about why decisions are being made. And not that like we need to know everything and whatever, but like this reminded me of this because Lauren had mentioned park pass reservations. I understand why they need park pass reservations. I do think that they have been helpful in dispersing crowds, especially because I know the way that they used to be, a lot of people would go to the park that has extra magic hours. And then immediately after extra magic hours, they would park hop to another park. And so like that park would be super busy and the other parks would be dead. Whereas now, because you do have such like a huge influx of guest like attendance and stuff, you do kind of have to be a little better at dispersing those crowds. And so I don't necessarily love the park pass reservation like itself. Like it is kind of a hassle, but I understand from speculation why it is so necessary. But they have not come out and said like, hey, this is why we're still doing this. This is what,
and I think from an employer perspective, regarding cast members, but even also a business perspective with your guests, understanding the why is so critically important. And as someone that works in a retail environment, understanding the why behind any sort of new decision or change, if you cannot explain the why behind that change,
you're gonna have
to your guest, you're going to have upset cast members and upset guests because guests don't understand the why behind that decision because cast members can't effectively explain it. And so it's this vicious cycle that if your top down does not explain the why so that cast members can then explain it to the guests, it ends in this train wreck that I think has become Genie Plus, and why a lot of people are very upset about it, because not Genie Plus, I'm sorry, Park Pass reservations specifically. And I think that's where a lot of people are very upset, and honestly kind of rightfully so, because they don't understand the why. And I think that's what it really comes down to.
And not to like rat on Disney, like
we love Disney.
We love Disney, and I'm very supportive of the Disney company. And I do wish, like, there are some things I do wish that they would do better about. But I also understand that they're business, and sometimes businesses are going to make decisions that you don't always love, and that's not really like the whole point of this video live stream. It's just, I think it goes to say, just like, we are excited for things that are coming. I just wish that Disney would be a little bit more forthcoming on things than they are. Like telling us when Fantasmic is going to open.
Yeah. I think it's also hard to, because I think a lot of, especially hardcore Disney fans like ourselves, it's hard to watch a D23 where they announce something as huge as 2 Star Wars lands, a bunch of attractions, and all of this in one span of an hour and a half time slot. And then you have this D23 parks panel that doesn't announce
no character
meet and greets. Yeah.
I feel like that was like the theme of this one. It was just like, no characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, and if there's a reservation system in place, why do people have to wake up at 7 a.m.?
Something cool I want to share. There is a new app that you can download. They just launched, like, literally at the beginning of this month. Like, it is brand spanking new. It's called Standby Skipper. I will preface now, it is not free. But apparently what this does is it will actually book your lightning lanes for you so that you don't have to be on your phone. I'm not going to lie, it's not super cheap. But if you are somebody who you are really against, like, you really want to use Genie Plus, but you're super against having to be on your phone, quote unquote, all day, which, by the way, you're not actually on your phone all day with Genie Plus. You can fight me on that, but I will fight you. But basically, I guess this system, they'll book your lightning lanes for you. And so it'll just like tell you, like, oh, you have a lightning lane for this now because we booked it for you. And I think it's super cool. The owners have been messaging me. Obviously we're not there, so I haven't been able to like test the system out, but there's a Instagrammer, Bethany Benton, right? Yeah. So she got to test it out recently and stuff, and it looks really cool, and I'm definitely going to try it. So check it out. If that's something that might be interesting to you, that could definitely be a really cool time saver. But if you hate it, I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to try it yet, and it's like super new, so don't like hold me accountable. But as far as I understand, it's a really cool system.
We've only heard good things about it so far.
Yeah.
And it's a very new system, and so I know that they're looking for feedback. So you'll probably hear more people talking about it.
Yeah, like I said, like they've been doing beta testing for the past several months, and so they literally just released, I think, September 1st. So it's only been about 2 weeks that they've been live. But I think this could definitely be pretty revolutionary to people's trips. So,
but
you heard it here first, folks.
Lauren, I know I can't find the comment now, but I think it was you that had said something about, the
Tiana restaurant.
No, something basically just about Epic Universe. I think when we were talking about that a little bit earlier, and I wanted to circle back around to that because that is, I think, a huge concern for a lot of people right now, because you have huge names and IP.
I think that's also the reason why people expected so much out of this D23, because everyone's like, okay, Universal's is opening Epic Universe. What you got up your sleeve, Disney?
2025. They're gonna build
Theoretical Zootopia Land. Okay.
Yeah, which is it's really funny to me that Universal is building this entire huge new third park in just a few years when it literally has taken 5 years for Disney to build Tron. I think it's really funny, but I think it will be very interesting to see what happens because I think Disney is relying very heavily on their name and their brand that it's gonna compete with Epic Universe, and I think in reality, I think people are looking for a more simplistic vacation when they go to Orlando, and I think that's why a lot of people are choosing more to go to Universal. We haven't.
That's a whole other video.
Yeah,
we're
that's
not
a whole
gonna
other
get
video,
started on that topic because we'll be here for hours.
But I think that's why people had another reason why people had really high expectations for this parks panel at D23. But yeah.
Really briefly, just like 2 seconds, in case you were curious about Disney Cruise Line updates. So they did announce the name of the new ship. So like Disney Wish is the current new ship that just launched earlier this year. Disney Treasure is going to be the name of the new ship. So this is essentially going to be the Wishes.
Getting it on myself. There we go.
So the Treasure is going to be the sister ship to the Wish. So it's going to be very similar I think it's the same size. It's got it's probably going to have some similar restaurants and things like that. The theming of this is going to be kind of more based around adventure, I would say. The atrium, they also released some concept art for the atrium. I think I have a picture of that in there. It's going to be Aladdin themed. Beautiful.
I like that.
Gorgeous.
I like that this looks. Oh, Chris, I saw that you just said lag. Are we still? Hopefully, you can still see and hear us. Let us know.
Can't do anything about it. Apologies.
Hopefully, we're still here. But I like that this looks a lot very reminiscent in a sister ship to the Wish.
Yes.
Okay. It looks like people are still okay. But I like that this looks very much so like the Wish. You've got the chandelier, more of the open, like circular atrium versus your more squared off kind of thing. But I like that this is a little bit darker. It's more.
I don't think it's darker. I think that this is a drawing.
I mean,
I think it's going to look the same. I think it's going to look exactly the same as the Wish. It's just going to be different colors.
I mean, there's like darker colors, not as much like white and bright colors.
Sure. Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
I still think it's going to look the same,
but the next big thing that they talked about.
Big thing, I guess. I think it was already known that Disney is getting a second island. They have a second island that they have started construction on. They're in the really still early stages of it. Basically, they just released some concept art of potentially what is going to be there. Wasn't anything like big woohoo, but woohoo! Here's some concept art for what this island's going to be. So,
I think it'll be cool. I'm glad that they are still moving forward with this because this was going to be Joe Rohde's new baby right behind Aulani and Animal Kingdom. So, this was going to be Joe Rohde's new focus, and I'm very, very sad that he is gone. Because I think hopefully he had a lot of this already kind of drawn up and kind of sketched out a little bit before he actually left. And TBH, it wasn't just all in his head, but
it's just the island. So I think it's not going to matter too much. I think it'll still be cool no
matter
what they do.
I just really
most people are just going to go hang out on the beach.
I know this sounds really stupid, but my one wish for Lighthouse Point is that they put in a freaking pool.
Why?
Because saltwater. Creatures.
That's what the ship is for, you ding
sea creatures.
You go swim on the pool on the ship, you ding ding.
But what if I want to swim in the pool by the beach? I want a pool, man.
That's not why you go on a cruise to an island.
I want a pool,
buddy.
I want a nice
Anyways,
island drink in my hand on the side of the pool, looking at the beach.
Last announcement for Disney Cruise Line is that they are adding
Liz
some
gets
new. Okay. The last announcement for Disney Cruise Line is that they are adding some new itineraries in New Zealand and Australia, which is super fun. So those will be coming I think late next year. I think it's October next year. Yes. So October of next year is when those itineraries will start. I believe they said that those will go on sale starting in October this year. So if you ever wanted to take a Disney cruise in Australia and New Zealand, now is the time. So
I never thought a pool on an island would be so controversial.
Because that's so dumb. Don't get me wrong, like, I don't love the ocean. I do not love the creatures in the ocean. It freaks me out. I hate it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna swim in a pool on the beach.
I like the ocean for like a few minutes. If I want to be in the
pool, then I'll just stay on the ship.
Like, we went to the beach with our friends a couple weeks ago.
It was last weekend.
Sure. Anyway, and literally I got out of the ocean and I had to like rip my pockets out, and my pockets from my swim trunks were full of seaweed, and I'm like,
that's
gross.
Called the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
it's called the Gulf.
That's why I want.
That's the Gulf.
It's still kind of the ocean.
Okay.
That's why I want a pool.
If anyone would like to sponsor us to go on the Disney Wish, we would love to make some vlogs. I'm totally kidding, but also not kidding. We really want to go on the Wish really bad.
I'm excited for the treasure too. I think
we'll get to do that.
I think it'll have a lot more unique character meet and greets on it. Specifically on the treasure that they
maybe.
Because I think it'll have Pan. I think it'll have Hook. Who else did they
already?
I don't think they're on the Wish though.
I don't know. Well, I don't know that they've brought back all the character meet and greets on the, like, they only just recently are doing normal meet and greets again. So I don't even think that they've been having all the characters that they normally have. Yeah. So,
but I don't know. I think hopefully we'll hear some more. I will say it did look like, let me pull this picture back up. So this picture here, you can see that they have, basically dead center of the ship on the top deck. You can see there that they have what looks like either the aqua duck or the aqua mouse.
I think it's going to be the aqua mouse.
I would assume it's going to be the aqua mouse. That would be my guess, but we'll have to just wait and see. But yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah, Aladdin. Yeah, that was the other character.
Well, that's the main character for, like, that's going to be so like Cinderella is the Wish, right?
Right.
And so Aladdin and Jasmine, there's like going to be like a statue of them.
Yeah, more of those adventure type characters. Yeah. Which I think Adventure could have been a cool name for the ship.
That'll be the next one.
Probably.
I honestly do really like the name Treasure.
I do like that. I do too. We've never done a Disney cruise. We've never done a cruise in general, and we really want to go. Yep. But yeah, that was basically everything that they.
We're not going to talk about the overseas stuff because honestly, I don't care about that because
we're not going anytime soon.
Really, Disney World was the one that I really cared about, and it's fine. Figment's coming. That's the exciting news. Happily Ever After's coming back mostly. So those were the big,
But yep, we're probably gonna wrap it up unless you guys have any other last minute questions or thoughts. Definitely leave those in the chat.
You got 30 seconds. Go.
But yes, it was so good to chat with you guys. We always love hanging out in the live stream.
We just had a lot of thoughts and opinions, and we didn't really know how to express them, and we figured we wanted to do it like while all this stuff was still fresh. So we thought we'd jump on here and give you guys a little bit of our word vomit of our thoughts and feelings about all of this. And yeah.
It was good to see you too, Liz. Hope you and Sam and the babe and the puppy. All doing well.
All right, friends. Well, that I think is all that we have for you guys today. Make sure you go like this video, please, so that other people can watch it. But yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. Now go create your ever after.